Как правило, на всех конференциях молодежных
Dear colleagues, good afternoon. We start our session of young scientists, and it's mostly the most advanced one everywhere because the presentations by young scientists are always advanced. But before I start, I would like to finalize and summarize a big competition of the community of the Russian professors and our medical university. And this is about professional achievement, bioethics, successful future, and the advance and the sustainable development and success. This competition is about the lift to attract new, well-trained staff to science, education, and practical healthcare, clearly. And the result, we have several winners, and I would like to congratulate them and voice them because they're amazing and they have great results in different nominees. So, what are the winners? Best scientific work in English in the category Students Learning in English. And the winner is Rashid Nauman from Pakistan. Congrats to you, Rashid. And the next nomination is the best socially relevant trial study in the category Students, Vladislav Suvorov, Russia. And the next nomination, the best social and relevant trial in Russian, Maria Reutskaya, Russia is the winner. And the next nomination, the best research on social and environmental issues Omar Karim from Palestine. Where is Omar from Palestine? And the best scientific paper in the category The Future of the Science, Nikolai Gorkov, Russia. Congrats. Well done. And the best socially relevant trial in the category The Future of Science, Oleg Vasin, Russia. The best scientific paper in English in the category The Future of Science, J. Ravindra Khartri from India. And the best paper in Russia in the category Students Studying in English, Kapoor Dia from India. Also, there are guys from India and Cote d'Ivoire, and they will get their certificates a bit later. And thank you. And now, let's get to our scientific agenda, and I'd like to give the floor to the moderators of the session. This is Vice Rector on Science and R&D of the University, Demid of University, Ekaterina Florova, and me, Vice Rector on Science and Research, Professor Ilya Starovera from Yaroslavl Medical University. And dear colleagues, before we start the presentations, I would like to please follow the regulation, the timing. Young people need to learn not only how to do statistics, how to deal with it, but also how to present. And timing today is really important. And this will be one of the assessment criteria for your presentation. And one more important issue. Our conference is on ethics, on AI. Please, all the presenters, if you made your slides using a neural network, please speak about it at the beginning. Yes, please. I wanted to thank all our colleagues, the Medical University of Yaroslavl. For 2 years, they invite us, Demidov University, to participate in this conference. Bioethics it is much more than just correlation of human with different factors. So I wish all of you subtle work. I really love to attend this kind of conferences because I get charged and with energy, I get inspiration, I learn new things. I hope that our conference will be friendly and very informal. So, the first presentation, we invited a professional scientist, and this is Mikhail Kotlovsky from Simashka Institute of Public Health, and he is a PhD professor. Thank you, dear colleagues. Certainly, I did use neural network using, so preparing the presentation. There are some mistakes. This is not me, but the neural network. So let me please not read the relevance of the topic. We have more and more medical information on medical research, genome. This is for due to the development of medical technologies, and the access to this kind of information becomes key for scientific advancement. And this allows to speed up everything, improving the quality. Still, there is a converse. So the data should be open and accessible for all, but we need to be ethical. That is why the issue of accessing the information becomes more and more relevant. On this slide, you can see how the amount of information we can use every year just increases, and AI increases accessibility. Machine-based learning was invented at the beginning of the 20th century, but we didn't have this kind of information at that time. And now we have this opportunity, and the AI systems, including neural networks, they progress. In the Russian Federation, a lot has been made to digitalize the healthcare. You all know the state medical software. By 2023, there are several levels, the federal and the regional, and also we have the unified state software. But it's not that all the information goes up. A lot of information is still accumulated in different regions or institutions because there are more than 40 kinds of softwares, and each has its own feature. We need to aggregate everything. So conducting a research, you need to understand sometimes you can just get down to the region and get the information. Only about 3% of the information which is accumulated gets treated and analyzed. and manually. It is absolutely impossible. And here, the best systems, also based on AI, are really in demand. They help to make predictive models for physicians to take decision. I would like to tell you about several definitions. So, what is information? It is data, message, data, regardless of the form in which it is presented. Access to information is the ability to obtain, use, and disseminate data in accordance with established legal, ethical, and technical conditions. This includes not only the availability of data, but also the rights, conditions, and methods in biomedics. It's especially important because there is a lot of sensitive information related to human health. Availability, legality, and security are important. And the key is balance. On the one hand, we need to provide accessibility for the researchers, but we need to protect some personal data of the user. So in medicine, there are a lot of special features, but all the data are absolutely diverse, computer-based models and others. And the developer needs to make data sets to purify the data, to unite them. We need to know what information was used before the computer-based systems, AI-based systems existed, and this should be registered today on the regional and the federative authorities. A lot of work is made to create the data sets, and every person can register, get this data, and use them for your research. The Center for Telemedicine does a lot for that. And within the framework of Moscow experiments, more than 350 data sets were created. Some of them are in the open source, and you can just go there, click, and download and use them for your work. I would like to show the difference between accessibility of information and access to information. Accessibility means technical opportunity. The data is there and you can get it, but getting access to information has a broader context. Who has the right to work with the data? What are the limits in medical and biomedical research? Sometimes the information can be limited due to legal issues. So technically, the data can be accessible, but not legally, and even you can get legal problems. In other countries, there are the principles called FAIR, and they detect what the data should be so that you can use them. It's not that you should open everything, but the data should be clear and you can use them many times. And there are standards for that. The FAIR principles were published in 2016, and since then, they are used. This is the so-called soft standard, so it's rather recommendation for accessibility and the repeated use of the data. But in the European Union, there is a document which is called GDPR, Guiding Principles for Scientific Data Management, and there is a law which protects the patient. But in the United States of America, there are similar laws, but they are more liberal. So developers, they have more freedom and in the United States of America, there are 3 times more AI-based methods. Also, this is because it's easier for them regarding regulation. So there is ethics, and the law says what is allowed and what is not. Let's get to the Russian Federation, and you can see that the key issues for working with information are regulated by the law. So it's prohibition of the private information, also freedom of information word. And we have a multi-level system, legal system. And the key federal laws is the Federal Law 149 on informational technologies and protection of information. Clearly, Law 152 on personal data. And there was a similar law in the European Union. They are both very, very, very tough to preserve the personal data. Also, there is Federal Law 61 on circulation medicine for protection of the patient. Also, 242 on state genomic registration. So the legislation in Russia is for balance between accessibility of information for science, for management, and also to protect the patients, protecting their confidential data. So we're as tough as the European Union here. Speaking about medical and biomedical research, so the highly sensitive personal information is used, like diagnosis, health status. If you violate it, this can lead to discrimination. A key condition for using data like this is informed consent by the patient, signed by the patient, and there you just describe how the information received from the patient will be used. Also, there is an ethics committee which oversees and looks at the rights and interests of participants. So we know that we have federal and local ethics committees which monitor all these issues. Speaking about accessibility of information, access to information of biomedical studies, it has a lot of challenges. Confidentiality, there is a risk, secondary identification of the patient, especially working with big data. If you work with the data and you remove just the name, it doesn't make the data anonymous enough. Discrimination is the second challenge. The data can potentially be wrongly used, like for insurance or for jobs, and this violates the people's rights and can result in discrimination. And the third aspect, right, is the issue of fairness and equal access. And so there were research where the data were first anonymous, and then they managed to reveal them. So the systems based on AI shouldn't disclose the person. In the Russian Federation, we have experimental legislation on some territories for some period of time and helps the developers, and this is really efficient. Let me conclude. Access to biomedical information is the key term of healthcare. Using this data speeds up the research and taking the proper decisions. Balance is important between the openness of the data and protecting the patients. And this is all I wanted to share with you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Mikhail. We have time for a couple of questions, and the first is from Ekaterina. Thank you, Mikhail, for this presentation. I am an amateur, and Ilya will ask the one from professionals. So once, as a patient, I came to a hospital, and I faced the situation that everything which is in the obligatory medical insurance is in the digital medical card, the patient's records. Any person? No, only the physician. Well, they told me that any person who has the access to the system of healthcare can just have a look there. If it's for money, then I may not give the hospital the information about my health so that it is downloaded to the system. But in the obligatory medical insurance, it's obligatory. So how can we do? On the one hand side, it's good that we have this unified system, but our data should be protected. Law 323. It can reveal the cases when the personal data can be referred to third persons, even not asking the patients. In the case of treatment, it's not that everyone can get there. You should be authorized and get the right to access to the system. And everyone should be logged in and you will see who was there. So it's not that you just want to have the system and you just have a look at it. No. Thank you, Mikhail. Recently, we faced a problem. Medical institutions don't allow to access the medical data those who do not work in the medical institutions. And this is the problem for our students and for our residents. So it's very difficult for them to conduct a retrospective trial. Do you think it's a legal mistake or is this a legal norm? What do you think about it? As you've said, this is, well, again, bilateral. It prevents the researchers from investigation, but it protects the patient. So we need to have the balance here to simplify the work of those who work here, but not violating the patient's rights. So this is a very relevant issue, and this is under investigation. So we're trying to have to find this ideal balance. Thank you for your presentation. Dear colleagues, we were missing several winners of our competition, and now there is an opportunity to give awards to them. With Academician Russian Academy of Science, our rector, Alex Hokhlov. Dennis, could you please help me? Dear colleagues, I'm so happy. Don't stand up, then I will stand up too. Thank you. I'm so happy that we have a lot of young people today. And we are in the building where young people actually work. Tremendous opportunities for medicine and intermediary disciplines. And this is the book issued in 2025 on ethics of scientific research was translated into English, and I wanted to give it as a present to our diplomats, from our colleagues from India, for instance, or for being so active. Please read this book, and we'll be happy for your further career, intellectual, and other developments there. Thank you. And I'd like to voice who it is. Kapurdia, the winner in the nomination, the best research in Russia. It's so important. Dear colleagues, we're moving on. And the next presenter is from Demidov University, Papik Babajaman. He will speak about the threats of technology of AI, and Papik Babajayan works there, though his faculty is on social and medical sciences, but this is his topic. Actually, threats and opportunities for using AI technologies as an agent of bioethical regulation. Yes, my major is politics, but I'll try to speak about medicine and bioethics. Actually, that happened quite unexpected for me. We had research on AI technologies in different spheres, and strange as it may seem, many people conducting measurements said that medicine and military area are the two majors where AI is makes us worried. How will they develop? How will they be applied? And yes, AI helped me to prepare the slides. I wanted to avoid mistakes. Maybe you will find mistakes because of that. But I tried to read it and it seemed to be good. Why is it important to study all this? The AI technologies are so rapidly developing. It's not that the people, but the developers say that they didn't expect such a speed. Some algorithms set up by the developers would result in something unexpected, and especially in our universities. Number two, it's the dual use of AI and ambivalent attitude. Yes, they give us a lot of opportunities, and especially in treating not just big data, but huge data. And this is relevant not only for medicine, for other sciences, but there are some problems, mistakes, and they're difficult to check because you don't know where it takes the data for. And they are developing so rapidly, but that no regulation can speed it up. There are no universal regulations on that. For the use, for the application. I'm sure that this is relevant for you, dear students, because you do a lot of research, but don't understand how much we can use it. And the scientific supervisors, they are even in a worse position. They don't know how to assess it. What was done by the AI, what by young resident or young scientist. A new phenomenon is called we are becoming neuroparanoid. I will speak about this a bit later. So what was the objective of our investigation? To find out the possible threats and also to to look for strategies for its implementation. The methods are deep interviews with experts and focus groups. Let's go for these interviews. We didn't interview 16 experts, but much more, 30. But these are those who spoke about AI technologies in medicine, the developers of AI systems, regulatory bodies, and also investigators of biopolitics and risk management. Also, people from Ministry of Health. Speaking about focus groups, we tried to subdivide them into several groups: the developers and engineers, representatives of the regulatory bodies, and policymakers. Also, we tried to take experts, high competent experts. We also questioned our colleagues from the physics faculty, but these two groups are separately. There were 6 or 7 of them. What can we say? What is the main idea? Here you can see the key threats. I would focus on those I didn't see in other investigators, being neuroparanoid. A lot of respondents say they don't understand where it is the human and where AI. One of the respondents of the focus group said, when I call a hotline to consult to a place, I don't know who is speaking with me sometimes. We asked him a question, do you think it's a problem? And she said, rather yes or no. I cannot make my communication know what words I should use. I start thinking I should speak somehow that it understands me because it's AI. And then it turns out it was a human, and that it turns out I could be easier. So this is what I call being neuroparanoid. And it's not just conversation, but also about the data, what data we can trust and what not. But still, some young people orient at getting the information only based on AI technologies, including medicine and military issues. And this shouldn't be. No way. And these two spheres should be, most strict, unacceptable, also regulation, because this is, again, about people's lives. And we should do the regulation. Our AI should work. The experts, though, said, yes, we can explain to you how this should be done, how this should be regulated, but it develops so quickly. So we have something in the regulation 1 week, and this is nothing regarding the status quo. And we need to have amendments. We also kind of stuck. We don't know how to write a law regulation so that it is about reality. Yes, we can live it, or live the legitimacy principle, and do it like there is a law and you follow it, no matter how. But the law should be good. Especially regarding the technologies which are developing so rapidly. Otherwise, we'll have to update it all the time. And this is impossible. Sometimes they update, but not so often as it is in demand. So what we have it like adaptive regulation. We have something new, we use it in the law. Speaking about the focus group results, I've spoken about it, but the situations are important. My thesis is about young people not participating in politics. It's like because of the situation. And this is the same here. People somehow understand that AI is not the best, but it's easy to get the information. Something is true, and they come to the physician saying, "Oh, AI has told me this and that." The physician said, "Please tell me what your problems are." And they said, "Probably I'm an amateur. Maybe I have some problems with thyroid gland." And they start with the problems. And the same happens in like legal sphere. So the problems are not just political or technological, put the information, but so far, and this is the disadvantage, cannot analyze so far, and this is the disadvantage, cannot analyze it correctly. So 1, 2, 3 based maths is good, but when you start thinking, well, somebody can do it better, somebody worse. And this is my conclusion. Sorry, the last slide, thank you for your attention. I will not use. So every aspect has both threats and opportunities, and we need to balance our legislation based on recommendations by experts from real areas so that we, from here, problems, we come to the column opportunities. Thank you. Sorry for being amateur. I hope I've been too much. Thank you for such an interesting presentation, dear Popik. Are there any questions? Let's help Popik for his brilliant presentation. And we go on because of the timing. And please, I would like to ask the next presenter to cut his presentation. I'd like to introduce Paulina Melnitskaya, one more co-moderator. Could you please come here and introduce the next speaker? Okay, next presenter is head of the International Students Society, SOXA, Igide Mahanpa. Distinguished professors, guests, and colleagues, and dear participants of the conference. I'm Yogita Sudhar. I'm a 3-year medical student of Yaroslavl Medical University. It's my honor and privilege today to share my ideas about bioethical aspects of professional and human adaptation of international students in Russia. Learning medicine abroad is much more than getting academic knowledge. This is the way of personal, cultural development, professional development, and also personal development. For me, Russia is not just the place where I get my education, but the country where I've got a lot of important values which will stay with me all my future medical life. 3 years ago, I came to Yaroslavl and I found myself in an absolutely new environment. The language, the climate, the traditions, the system of education, differs a lot from what I'm used to in India, like other international students. I had to adapt a new culture to the new social life. But still, wanted to preserve my identity and my values too. I was happy to participate in celebration of New Year um, and other and the Pancake Day. This helped me to adapt to it. Also visited the church, and this helped me to learn more about Russia and its history. And I was happy to see one of the great uh, churches in Yaroslavl, which reminded me of my religious traditions. So this experience has helped me how important the bioethical principles are. And this is respect for culture and religion, which is especially important for future doctors who will have to work with patients of different nations, ethnicities, beliefs, and cultural traditions. And this is important when, as students, we become more empathic and we get more information about different ethnicities and different cultures, and this helps us. So, I learned a lot about the social values of the Russian society. Thanks to my Russian friends, I learned how important it is to respect the seniors. When you are traveling by bus, you just uh, stand up if there is a senior person. So this is important, transport in hostel, and this is about respect for those who are surrounding you. Also, it's important to respect the traditions of other peoples, or other ethnicities, other religions, and this is really important. It helps uh, to respect their ethical values, to respect the human dignity, and taking care of other people. And this is really important. The medical system is something I also have got to acquainted with. So the Russian medical education highlights how critical, on critical thinking and social life. And this is really important when the students actively participate in life and they feel responsibility of a higher education. When you start adapting to this kind of medical education wasn't easy for me, but with time I realized that these demands helped me to become what I am: discipline, motivation, being sure of myself regarding bioethics too, and regarding profession too. All this starts at the medical university. The future physician should always improve our knowledge. Critical thinking is important. Responsibility for decision taking. Russian educational environment has invested a lot in developing this quality in me. I wanted to attach your importance to something which became really important for me. And this was my first clinical experience when I studied internal diseases and surgery. I was a third-year student, so I managed to attend hospitals and to see how the patients are being checked up. Also, we could attend surgeries. So before coming to hospitals, we certainly need to comply professional demands. We use the medical uniform, sometimes PPAs. Sorry, you have only 1 minute left. So discipline is important too. And also during doctor-patient relations, we also learn how to do it. And this is an important experience for a physician. Personal and professional, the international environment of our university has enriched my experience a lot. I spent a lot of time with students from different countries, of different cultures, traditions, and thanks to that, I start realizing how tolerance is important. I have friends from Russia and other countries and helped me to develop my personality. I wasn't like them, especially when I entered the university. Yes, we are different, but we have a lot of things together. Adaptation is a challenge. There are barriers, cultural, and also I miss my home. And it wasn't easy for me to adapt to the new educational system. I'm a vegetarian, so I have to have additional effort when I go somewhere. I want to tell you that my adaptation to life and medical education has become much more painful than just learning a new language. And I got used to it finally, and this is my home too. And I wanted to thank the Medical University of Yaroslavl, my teachers and professors, my friends, and I'd like to thank them for that. This is a precious stage in my life and my professional experience, and thank you for your attention. Are there questions, dear colleagues? Thank you. And let's get to the next presentation. And the next speaker is again a student from Yaroslavl Medical University, Amar Abdelkarimovich. You have 9 minutes, please. Hello, dear students, dear colleagues. I will speak about the evolution of medical knowledge, stability of instructions, and the problem of sharing the information about medical products. And that's me, Omar Abdelkarimovich Sedodzi. I'm a student of State Medical University of Yaroslavl, and my scientific supervisor is Polina Khmelnytskaya. So we have the new data and the clinical trials. Sometimes they are in contradiction with the place of changes of medication dosing instructions. This impairs the trust of the patient for the physician. And one of the major reasons of this is that you have many steps and also legislation. And if you want to change the instruction, this requires a lot of time too. To uh, to amend the drugs package insert, the following steps may be completed. Identification of the need for a package insert change. This can be initiated by the marketing authorization holder, the manufacturer, or the regulator. Two, collection evaluation of scientific data by the company. The company analyzes adverse reaction reports, post-registration study data, scientific publications, internal safety signals as scientific justification for the changes developed. This point helps to find what the type of change we need for the instruction. So parallelly, the administration is worked and a package of docs is initiated, submitting them to the regulatory authorities as part of the law. So the final stage is expertise and the ethics committee. This is a multi-step system, and that is why we have a time gap between the new dosages we really need to use and the new instructions. This is an example for, and this is a group of drugs for osteoarthritis. One of the mostly well-known oral drugs, and this group is Artran Teraflex, and it is famous since 2000s, and that was the time when the instruction was worked out to this drug. In 2020, in Milana, it was pointed out that 80 grams chondroitin was the dosage, though the dosages and the instruction are still the same. And this confuses the patients who buy the drugs on their own without the prescription. And the dosage is important here. The first 3 weeks, 1 capsule 3 times a day is indicated, and then 2, twice a day. It is recommended to last the treatment from 3 to 6 months. If necessary, repeated treatment courses are possible. How long? This is stated individually by your physician. Atra. For this drug, a similar instruction was written in 2020. It was reclassified as a dietary supplement and then changed to 1 tablet a day. And this misleads patients and leads to the following ethical issues, like informed consent, undermining the physician's authority in the eyes of a patient. We prescribe the drug correctly and adhere to the principle of do no harm. The doctor is forced to prescribe the drug contrary to the instructions. So this is what we face. And this is a controversy. If there is no information, the right of the patient to informed consent could be violated. On the other hand, when you start trusting the drug too soon, it's a problem too. This is the list of literature used by me. And I'd like to thank you for your kind attention. Thank you, and thank you for being on time, Doctor. So it's important that we all present shortly and in a subtle way, but we have time. And I have a provocative question for you. So the basis of the work of any physician are the national guidelines. It's like the law, the constitution, but the guidelines, they are more rapidly developed than the instructions to the drugs. And it happens sometimes that in the guidelines, you have some indications how to use the drugs, but they are not in the instruction. What shall we do in this case? Microphone, Paul. Into the mic, please. Microphone. Thank you. So the most important thing is to hear what the physician administers, because they know more. If you have a complication after this administration, then any regulatory bodies will tell you that you didn't follow the instruction. I'm sorry, I made you stuck, but on purpose. It's a difficult question, but very interesting, and I wanted to comment on it. In my clinical practice, this is what we face quite often when we have to use off-label drugs. And this off-label use requires some legal issues. And if you have a consilium and a medical commission on this particular case, then you can administer an off-label drug. Thank you for your presentation. Dear colleagues, and now I'd like to give the floor to Ilya Zlobin from Demidov University, System of Bacterial Communication. President Putin has signed a new national project on bioeconomics and bio-IT, biomedicine, bioengineering are attached a lot of importance to. And the fundament is studying microorganisms. So we couldn't but bring your attention to this presentation. Hello, dear colleagues. If you allow me, I'd like to tell you about the bacterial systems of communication, what they speak about, why do they need it. This is called quorum synthesis mechanism, founded in 1979 when Kenneth Milson and John Hastings revealed that a small polymer from Hawaii's has fluorescence due to some bacteria, and they live in their organ, which is like a hollow bag. And at the beginning, every night, they empty this bag, and the bacterial population develop more. By the end of the night, they have some cellular density, and they start fluorescing. So the scientists saw it, and they thought, it's interesting, and that was all. But in 1994, Everett Greenberg saw that not just the first vibrio fishery bacteria has this fluorescence, but others. And it turned out that many other bacteria can regulate their gene expression based on density of population. Quorum sensitizing is for quorum rosanta sufficit. It means this is they are present, and this is enough. Sometimes parliaments, bodies, they don't have the quorum. But quorum means who, actually? And so this is funny. This is the overall scheme of what happens in the process of cellular regulation and expression. The population density is the basis, and this is one of the quorum setting principles. Top one, low molecular signal compartment and receptor proteins and the inducers. We have a receptor protein, we have a mediating molecule, which is produced in the bacteria in the body all the time, and they get to the environment as soon as we have more bacteria, more concentration, and they come to the threshold quantity. They bind with the receptor protein, and it changes the information and then switches on or off expression in the gene. If there is a biofilm, the expression can change once again. So two basic variants of regulation: repression and activation. In repressive model, the protein regulating can physically be part of DNA chain, and binding with autoinducer change the information, leaving DNA, and the information changes. Or activation, there is some sequencing, and the proteins distinguish it. When it changes, the information becomes returning to this specific area, and starts being like promoting, activating the gene expression. These are very complex molecular, so scary. I'm showing them to you to show that there are a lot of signaling molecules. They're different systems to regulate the expression based on this signal molecule. In gram-negative bacteria, the major system is based on using this QS molecule. The radicals can be different compounds, but here in one type, bacteria can use absolutely different molecules, but can use similar molecules for being from different types. So quorum sensing mechanism allows both intra-type communication and higher. So intraspecific, they can understand that there can be different kinds of bacteria. So they can realize that there is somebody else besides them and regulating their gene expression. Why do they need it? Let me bring about a very simple example. In medicine, using quorum sensing, pathogenesis is being regulated. The bacteria, so far, its density is low. It's not beneficial for them to show how pathogenic they can be, because the body will suppress it and there will be no pathogenic invasions. So it's logical that bacteria are quiet, accumulate potential, and then simultaneously start beating the immune system. Then the host body will have much more difficulties. This is kind of coordinated interaction between bacteria. when they realize now it's time. There are a lot of us, we can do something. Pathogenesis, conjugation, biofilm production, resistance to antibiotics. This can be regulated. Let's look at pathogeneity. Different variants of reception proteins. They have very difficult structure, very complex structure. So the protein is basically on two chains of DNA. You can see the active pockets where the auto-inducing molecule come when binding with auto-inducer. It changes the formation, binds, activating the growth of this receptor proteins from different clinical significant states. As we've marked, quorum scenting regulates pathogenesis. All these bad events we wanted to avoid in our practice. But very often, they are regulated by quorum scenting. Also, biofilm production. This is regulated by quorum scenting too. When bacteria is plankton, they have little population. They produce their chemical signals in the environment. They are attached to the surface. They make a biofilm, the matrix of a biofilm. Here you can see a lot of them in one place, and the chemical signal is accumulated too, and the genes activated, which are responsible for being pathogenic or antibiotic resistant. You know that the biofilms are problematic. They make bacteria which are much more resistant to antibiotics than without the film. They can develop on different surfaces. They can be seen and developed on CT, on prosthesis. And this is one of the trends today. Let's finalize. Very briefly, what are the clinical manifestations produced by different bacteria regulated by quorum setting systems? They're here and they're diverse. Let's conclude. What can we do with all this information? We can try to combat this pathogenesis. There is quorum scenting and there is quorum clenching, suppression. We can use this system contra bacteria and to interrupt the work of the bacteria, the signaling bacteria, or those which are in the system, and trying to prevent the signal molecule from meeting with their receptors. If we switch this off, there will be no pathogenic factor. The bacteria will be there in the environment. They will not know there are a lot of them. They will be conditionally pathogenic, but also harmless. And foreign quenching therapy does not lead to resistance to antibiotics. This is one of the variants. Thank you for your attention. And this is my question. Ilya, any wound infection means a lot of contamination, a lot of bacterial stems. Do you think they live in synergy or into antagonism? Do they unite to fight for or with the body or between themselves? Thank you for your question, which is really debatable. I think things can be different in different cases. We have bacteria and they get to the wound surface and they use the same signals. Then it's synergy. If they use different signals, they can feel this is not their signal. and work out some antimicrobic substances to suppress the competitors, so you can see the community. Who are the members and how do they interact? Thank you. And we're getting to the next presentation from the Medical University of Yaroslavl, Polina Klueva, Ethics and Quantum Effects in Medicine. Hello, my name is Polina Klueva. I will speak about using quantum effects in medicine and its ethics. So why is quantum ethics becoming a medical issue? So this is not exotics. This is not just fundamental physics, but a medical instrument. Let's look how quantum effects are applied in medicine. Let's like with diagnosis, magnet cardiography. It's a device which can absorb very small magnetic field produced by the human heart. So the magnet field appears, and the squid is very helpful here. They reacted on the quantum level, and this helps us to get the smaller signals from the heart. So neuroethics or bioethic people, well, this is the dilemma. The quantum are super sensitive, and they can become a bomb, and we get a lot of information, too much of information. As a patient, I would not probably love knowing about it. So too many surveys tests which were not necessary, and the patient probably didn't want them. But ECG is good, not less informative, but you may not use it. I remember MRI and ultrasound were investigated, and some physicians have forgotten about palpation, percussion, and auscultation. And this is bad because these are also very informative methods. I'd like to speak about quantum effects in pharmacology, and especially calculations. Why does it help? Quantum computer works with qubits. We have some case, let's call it N, and we use the quantum computer. But it so happens that this is the only one case. And we get some bad outcomes. If the drug works with the target, which is a cell, and sometimes it's unpredictable, what are the ethical challenges? Because they are sensitive to the noise, and the system hasn't been studied enough, and the outcomes can be difficult to reproduce. And if you are based on quantum simulation and Bézier and drug regulation, then the regulatory bodies and the scientific community should test the data. Now it's difficult. Also, leadership is important, and some would want to be leaders, and they will take the quantum-based decisions before they are proved to be accurate. So they could be problem deviations. For me, it is quite, critical. And there is no transparent verification system. I mean, we cannot do the measurement to understand the deviation, how high it is, because it's bad. I'd like to tell you how quantum effect is used for neuroimaging and stimulation and treatment. They 10%, the magnetic fields, smaller one, which use the field. So this helps to localize epilepsy, to understand if they need a drug and what should be removed. This can be helped to treat Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease at early stages. Also, neural interface was made in Russia, portable one. And neural rehabilitation post-stroke is very convenient. But looking from a neuroethics angle, we'll see that this is all about privacy. And this is what we need to bear in mind. And any stimulation of the nervous cells can be risky, and especially for children, like DPS. If we use it for triple system, it is really scary, and we don't know what will happen in 10 years with the children. So quantum is still a black box, or rather a Pandora box, and how significant and relevant the outcome is still difficult. So let's come to the conclusion. Quantum effects do not just improve the effect, they change the model, and ethics should regulate this. We've discussed it today, discussing digital twins and other tips. We can say we need today to think how we will regulate ethically this or that stimulation on the human brain, on the human body, because later we may find ourselves with risks. Like a child will have problems on suppression if we impacted the stereopolatal system using the wrong angle. Moral risks concentrate around super correct reading. And the last summary will be the following. Quantum medicine requires a lot of admiration for precision, but a sober ethical framework is important to use these effects. And thank you for your attention. I'm ready to answer your questions if you have. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions, but thank you very much for your presentation. And I would like to invite the last but not the least speaker, Abdalasmat Ahmed, Muhia Ahmed, and he will speak about making formation of speaking skills based on visual aids. Dear colleagues, dear guests, it's my honor and privilege to present the result of my investigation. And the topic is the basis of the human beings. My name is Ahmed. I'm a teacher of Arabic at Yaroslav University. So I'm an investigator, and all of us want to find the source of the concept. But I can tell you, investing in education is what helps to develop us since early childhood. So the bridge between the legacy, Arabian legacy, and the Soviet school. So we started our perception thousands of years ago, and the ancient Arabic scientists in the 10th and 11th century, like for some, he tells Einstein, he is great in optics, and he tried to prove that the vision is not a passive act. And this is his basic concept, that you don't just perceive what you see, but the basics is your knowledge. And this is philosophy. The image and the word and the memory are combined. Ibn Sina and Ibn al-Qasim, they said that training in childhood should start from the feeling to abstract details. So abstract words are not enough for the children. My investigation is based on international teaching legacy, uniting great workers like Nikolai Shelifonov, who proved that no visual stimuli may result in the problems of the cortex of the brain. It may become sluggish, and vice versa. Lev Vygotsky thought that the image are cultural. When an adult links the picture with the words, then a baby has the sensory plus intellect in speaking. Nina Aksarin, a psychologist specializing in early childhood, proved that the combination of the subject and its name happens very early, and this is responsible for passive vocabulary, and it speeds up the speech and turning delays into a language. It supports that visual investigations help to find the points to link the image, the words, and the sounds. This also highlights, and I wanted to add, Professor Makoto Sedita. He is a Japanese teacher. He used the technique of rapid blinking to activate visualization and visual memory and photo memory to develop the left hemisphere. This highlights the fundamental role of holistic perception in early childhood. Dr. Musab Aftusab from Morocco highlights how critically important the first 1,000 of days of a child. And if a child doesn't have cards with images, then the intellect of space and visualization becomes less. Dr. Fatima Al-Takafi from Saudi Arabia has focused on Dolman method, and he has proved how great children are in passive memory. And also Serene Al-Sharif has proved that the first 3 months are very good when you read in black and white, and this will further become a regulatory instrument to slow down and to improve the nervous system. And you have less fury. And even less anger attacks. This is my personal experience being a father. Maybe this will be curious for some of you. My wife is very talented in teaching and psychology. And she has a master's degree, and me too. And she is a second-year postgraduate student. She has very deep professional knowledge, but this visual method has resulted into amazing results. In my family, our child, who was 2.2 years and a half, could read everything, and our 2 months old baby reacts which picture of two to select. And this proves how important visual training is. I want to tell you what Arabic does with international students' brain. It's unique and as stimulus for the brain because of the structure and construction. With a lot of cognitive advantage. Sensitive visual training. Reading, Arabic letters requires from the brain a lot of things, details, vowels, and the shape of the letters regarding its position. This is the left hemisphere. And it works on visual activity and on analytics. Also, it develops attention and you being able to cognitive perception, reading from right to left, which is in common to the majority of language systems, really helps to use the reverse neuron pathways. And this helps to develop extraordinary space adaptation and flexibility of thinking. Mathematical, logistics, intellect, and the morphology trains the brain in reverse engineering. This is analytics. Very similar to the level of software and maths, which develops the logics and the ability for deduction. Also, in Arabic, there are unique, very strong laryngeal sounds like sol, dal, ain, and the majority of other languages, they do not have them, and thus the hearing neurons are protected from atrophy. Also, it helps the speech adapter to be extraordinarily flexible, so you can learn any language in the future. And the executive control is also important. You manage two language systems like Russian and Arabic alphabet and grammar. Improves the brain function like attention, working memory, cognitive flexibility, and control of being too impulsive. Concluding, I wanted to underline visual means are not just addition to training, it's the fundament which helps to develop speech on an advanced level. And also, the students improve and enrich their inner world, and they will be ready to communicate in multicultural, multi-language world. So studying Arabic is great to study other culture, other legacy, but also it can be an instrument to develop the brain as a complex system and also cognitive abilities. Thank you. Let's thank all the presenters. Concluding our session, I want to give the floor the moderators so that we sum up what we've heard today. Our session is so multidimensional, so diverse, and it has proved once again that bioethics is a discipline uniting medicine, biology, philosophy, politics, and it solves a lot of issues. And I hope the State Medical University of Yaroslav will organize this conference next year and more, and will gladly meet. I would like to thank all the presenters. If it was interesting for you to listen to other presenters, if you like the presenter, the speaker, just exchange contacts. And I loved that many international speakers worked so hard and so great in speaking in Russian. So, dear colleagues, we are a session of young people, and the moderators are older. As me, I cannot but criticize a little bit. Just several words for you to understand the mistakes you make during your presentation, to avoid them. The first and the two last presenters used the neuron network to make the slides. Be very careful making the prompts to make your slides, treating your material, so that no one expert could detect you use them, and then your presentations will be 4 steps higher than today. And one more important issue. If a conference is in Russian, then try to make your slides in Russian too. This is like polite. Otherwise, it's like impolite. A Russian conference will have text in English. It's okay. You've done a lot of work and well done. So many interesting topics. It's a pity I didn't have time for questions. Thank you for your participation, and have a nice evening. Thank you. Enjoy it.